Welcome to part 7 of the Killer Food Plot series. Today we're going to talk about core infusion pellet feed. Now most of you, when you think about pellet feed, you think about consuming it as an attractant or drawing your deer in. Well, core infusion was developed with a completely different idea. Core infusion was developed and utilized over an 11-year period when we raised high-fence deer. We realized early on that 18 of every $20 we fed into each one of our whitetails essentially went in one end and out the other. It was wasted. It was not building the body. It was not allowing them to utilize the crucial nutrients that we were trying to put into the body of our deer. We determined early on the delivery system wasn't ideal. We really studied and found out that the best way to approach feeding these deer, we needed to look at the delivery system of the protein. How is the protein packaged? How are we getting it into their body? And how are we aiding in breaking it down and digesting it into a usable form so that after it left their ruminant system out, before it exited out the back door, they were able to metabolize it into their body. One of the things that we addressed right off the bat was gut health. We looked at the bacteria count in a whitetail, which are considerably lower than they are in, for instance, a cow. And when you are a cattle farmer raising whitetail or raising cows versus whitetails, it's a lot different game. They have a similar stomach system, but they have a very, very different time frame in which they take to break their food down. Whitetails are about 50% less capable of breaking down the exact same intake of nutrients, proteins, vitamins, etc. than a cow. Why is that? Well, their system does not process nearly as long as a cow. So right off the bat, no matter if you were supplying everything you needed into that deer's body, they do not have enough bacteria in their stomach to break the food down quick enough so that as it passes through their intestinal system and where it's supposed to be absorbed into their body, a lot of it ends up out the back door. So what we did is we focused on improving the number or the amount of bacteria in the stomach. How do we do that? We do it with some natural bacteria packs that feed that bacteria, getting them to multiply 4 to 5 times as many bacteria. That's an army going after that intake of food, not only in the core infusion pellet feed, but in their green forage and the other necessary food that they need to sustain their overall bodybuilding and their daily health, their daily energy. And by enhancing the number of bacteria in the stomach and that army going after that food, they were able to break it down. In that same period of time, albeit short, they were able to break down that food, allowing it to be in a form that as it passed through the system was in a absorbable, it was able to be absorbed into their body and utilized. Second, we had another natural bacteria pack that went after the negative bacteria. One of the issues in a white-tailed deer digestive system is that the bacteria are constantly in a war. Intake of water, rummaging through the woods, negative bacteria that they, when they're looking for forbs and forage and all different things throughout outside the high fence, impact the whitetail's ability to function, their digestive system to function and to break down what's taken in. So if you think about it, the army is constantly being plucked off and it's reducing and reducing and reducing. Core infusion assures that the army stays fortified and they have backups and they have reserves coming in at all times so that every bit of nutrition going in the mouth of your whitetail has the opportunity to be broken down and utilized by that deer, not just to be filler in the stomach, out the backside. In addition to that, the delivery of the proteins, the vitamins, the minerals, and the other necessary nutrients that are within the core infusion pellet. It's very important that the type of protein and the type or the complementing vitamins are present in that pellet so that they are in a form that can be broken down by the army in the stomach and absorbed post-ruminant or post-stomach prior to going out the backside. Building your deer from the inside out is what we focus on at Killer Food Plots. We want to build not only a healthy blood system, just like in the human body, when your blood is clean and it's functioning properly and it's flowing through all of the body tissue, We're focused on the body tissue development and the growth and the blood flow. The blood flow that not only is through each one of the extremities and through the major organs in the body, but as we know, travels also up into the antlers and aids in antler development. When a whitetail has everything it needs to build its body to function efficiently, all the excess is able to go up into the antlers. Not only are we dealing with the overall bacteria function in the stomach and the ruminant, the delivery system of the critical vitamins, minerals, and proteins, but Core Infusion also carries a mineral supplement within the pellet. The delivery of the vital phosphorus and delivery of that calcium into the body of your deer, fortifying its skeletal system and using the excess to be able to build a strong foundation by which to grow a large rack. Now, in growing our whitetails in the high fence, our goal was to achieve between 180 and 220 inches at 3 years old. Now today in high fence managers can do that much more quickly by other means. We have a natural approach. You and I, when we harvest our whitetail, we're planning to eat that whitetail. A Core Infusion pellet takes a more natural approach in coming in line with the body of the whitetail, maximizing that absorption, increasing the utilization of every dollar that we invest into our deer, making sure we maximize the output. Doing so, you can anticipate that you could put on in excess of 30 inches on a deer in a year. Have you ever heard of that? No. We have a controlled environment in high fence. But think about putting on even 20 inches on your deer in a year. What does that compute as a 3.5 or 4.5 year old? Put Core Infusion to work along with your green vegetation, your food plots, and your natural food, increasing the overall utilization of each one of those food sources to help build the body and sustain your whitetail deer herd. So Core Infusion is a 33% protein pellet. It also contains 3.25% fat, and then all the additional vitamins, minerals, and stimulants that we talked about as far as naturally feeding the ruminant. It is a highly concentrated product. So whether you're buying the 5 or 10 pound bag to use as more of an attractant with the berry vanilla aroma during your hunting, or you're actually using the product to build and sustain the healthiest possible deer herd, mixing of the Core Infusion was established in such a way that seasonally you can make the adjustments. You can put your energies to work stretching your dollar by mixing 50-50 Core Infusion with either a cracked or whole kernel corn. In the winter months, when you need to boost your fat level up, you're able to add in the application of soybeans along with your shelled corn, and one 50-pound bag of Core Infusion can make up to 300 pounds of feed, stretching that dollar and feeding your deer longer.